So in this video, we're going to talk about you're not obligated to love your parents, right? That's the title of this video, as you can see. This video could be watched by anyone, but this video could be watched by teens. Teens could be confused about not loving their parents, or they could have a lot of emotional problems, probably feeling guilty about not liking your parents or not loving your parents, or confused about the relationship you have with your parents, right? This is mostly for people who had a bad upbringing, and they don't really have a good relationship with their parents, right? This video could also be watched by adolescents. This could help you as an adolescent, to help you to recognize the emotional baggage that you have and the trauma that came from the relationship you have with your parents, and why you have problems with interpersonal relationships, and the different issues that you may not recognize about yourself and about the success in your life, right? This is good also for adult children. When I say adult children, I mean, for this video, when I say adult children, I mean adults who still live with their parents. You're over 18, you still live with your parents, and there's this, you have undesirable circumstances with them, and you probably just need to know what to do at this moment, and also to figure out your own issues in life or emotional baggage and how to move forward as an adult. And this could also be watched by parents. I mean, parents who really care about the development of their children, and you can get an idea of your parenting style, if it's working, if it's not working, and who care about the success about their children, and the just the experience that their children is having growing up with them, right? So, but basically, this video is mainly for people who had a bad upbringing, and I'm just coming on here to just ease the minds of persons who feel guilty, and you feel confused about not liking your parents, or about not loving your parents, and you think you are wrong, and you think you are cruel, or you think you have some disorder for experiencing these types of feelings with your parents, right? So that's what this video is for. Okay, so I'm here to tell you, and to ease your heart and your mind and your soul, that you're not obligated to love your parents. You didn't ask to be here. You didn't knock on the door and say, "Mom, Dad, but me, create me, I want to come into this life." You did not say that. They brought you here. So that is why I'm saying you are not obligated to love them, to like them, right? When you were little, obviously many of us, we saw our parents as our hero, as our inspiration, as our role model, as our protection, and some of us even aspire to be just like them, to do the career that they're doing, and then just to aspire to be like them growing up, right? And somewhere along the line, puberty comes along. I think most of the time is where puberty comes along, and that is where most of us start to see our parents for who they really are. And but in today's society, children can see the unacceptable behavior of their parents. I think children by 6 years old and by 7 years old, children today are aware of the wrongdoings of their parents, and they are actually calling them out on their bullshit and on their wrongdoings. I believe, and I could see that children today by 6-7 years old, they are more aware and more conscious about the wrongdoings of their parents, and they realize that by that time their parents are not a hero, or they're not always right, or something like that. But most of us, it's by puberty, right? When I say wrongdoings, I mean treating you in a condescending way, being arrogant with you, not treating you with respect. Most of the time, they see you as extension of them and not as an individual with their own feelings, their own thoughts, their own way of life, their own perspective. They see you as an extension of them. They disrespect you, they disregard you because you're young, and they don't look at you like an individual. That's what I mean when I say wrongdoings. Talking to you in a harsh way and just even using obscene language on you, abusing you, hitting you, yelling at you, emotional abuse, physical abuse, even sexual abuse, right? And this is a taboo topic, obviously. Most of the topics here are just like hard topics, hard to talk about, what most people are not talking about, taboo, especially this topic today, that you might not love your parents and you might not like your parents, or maybe you have one parent and you just don't like them, or you have both parents and you like one and you don't like one, or you have both parents and you don't like both of them. I don't know what your situation, but it's really a taboo topic to talk about not loving your parents and not liking your parents. And obviously, if you say this out loud, obviously you will be looked at as disrespectful, ungrateful, rude, spoiled, and many other things, right? I mean, how could you not love the persons or the people who brought you into this world? They give you life, they give you food, they give you clothing, they give you shelter, they give you education and medical care and many other things. And how could you not love someone who gave you all of those needs? But I mean, all of these things that they provide for you, food, clothing, shelter, space in school, medical care, these are just normal expectations of a parent. If you're a parent and you provide this, it doesn't mean that you are extraordinary or that you are special or something. That's normal expectations of a parent. You need to provide, and you have to provide food, clothing and shelter and a space in school, education and medical care or whatever. That's normal responsibilities of a parent. If you're a parent and you provide that and you think you're really amazing to provide that, that's normal, that is expected, right? And if you have been watching my channel, you will know that emotional needs is also important, and that is where most parents fail, especially today in society. So even if you were insulted by your parent, or they scream at you, they yell at you, they slap you, they break your bones, I don't know, they humiliate you at home, in public, they give you silent treatment, they curse at you, they use obscene language, they be angry with you, they make you feel like you're less than, they show, some of them really show, like, it's not conscious to them, but they show that they don't care about your safety, they don't care if you're safe, right? And as a child growing up, you still try to be a better daughter, or you still try to be a better son and love them unconditionally, right? And this is because obviously you have been conditioned by society to love your parents no matter what. To love your parents growing up, especially your mother. You have been conditioned, something about the mother, to love your mother unconditionally and so on. And society and your community and your friends and your family members and just the media conditioned you to love your parents no matter what. They don't know your situation, but you have been conditioned to love your parents no matter what. And this has become a heavy weight on the hearts of people who had a bad upbringing. You know, their parents treat them bad, and you had a horrible upbringing and you might not love them, and society is telling you to love them, and the media and so on. And it's a heavy burden and it's a heavy weight, and I could understand why you could feel confused and feel like you're wrong, or that you're cruel or a bad person for not liking them or not loving them. And in this video, I'm not saying to not love your parents or to try to make you develop bad feelings towards your parents or anything like that. Some people, they have a good relationship with their parents, and that is great, and you had a good upbringing, and that is good. But this video and what I'm saying here is for people who probably had a bad upbringing, right? And they were raised badly, or they were treated badly in some way by their parents, right? So somewhere along the line, some of us, we just realize that our parents are not better than us, that they are just normal human beings who have their own flaws, they have their own unresolved issues, they have their own emotional baggage from the past, they have their own wounds, they have their own fears, insecurities, just like us. They are normal human beings with all of these. And this is where conflict is created. This is where the relationship between you and your parent break down, because they did not work on themselves. They did not work on their trauma, right? Most of them are just ignorant. They don't know. Ignorance sounds like a bad word, but ignorant just means that you don't know what you're doing. You don't know about this topic. You don't know about parents. You just don't know, right? Most of them, they don't know, and they just pass down their wounds to you. They pass down their insecurities, fears. You have the same fears. You have the same drama. You still have the same emotional baggage passed on to you, right? And that's where the problem is, right? And you may feel guilty when you argue with them, when you quarrel with them. And it's normal to argue and fight in the home with your parents, especially if you feel unloved, you feel that you're not cared for, you feel unseen, you feel that they don't understand you, that they don't hear you, you feel that they don't respect you. You're going to fight at some point. Some people withdraw, but some people, they fight back, right? They may not have taught you like how to resolve conflict in a good way, or how to have a disagreement. They might not know for themselves. Most of them, they do not know for themselves how to resolve conflict, how to have a disagreement in a healthy way, right? They do not know how to reason out different issues calmly, civilized way, or how to manage their emotions. And this is passed down to you because they didn't teach you how to manage your emotions, right? And that is why you have intense arguments, frequent arguments and conflict, which damages the relationship. Of course, this will damage the relationship between you and your parents, especially if there's anger and you feel disappointed for many months and many years. You feel sad, or you feel wronged, and you feel like you're not important to them. You're gonna argue. Most of the time you're gonna argue, and these fights could be really intense, and you could look like you're disrespectful, but you're angry, you're hurt, you're sad, you feel unloved. And that is why you have these outbursts, right? And having a lot of negative interactions with your parents, arguments, fight, conflict, just being in a stressful environment very often, coupled with not feeling loved, not feeling understood, not feeling like you get the respect that you need. You start to lose respect for them, and you start to dislike them, and you start to not love them anymore because of these constant negative encounters, right? It's normal to feel that way. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not cruel. You are not a bad person. You don't have disorder for not liking your parents, for not loving your parents. That is why I came on this video. That is what I came to say here on this video, that it's normal to feel that way. It's normal to feel like you hate them. Sometimes you might feel like you hate them, and then you feel like you love them again, and it's like a roller coaster or whatever. But I was inspired to do this video after I watched a clip from Love and Hip Hop. I used to watch Love and Hip Hop when I was younger, many hours, many series or whatever. But I was just on social media, scrolling on Instagram, and somebody posted this short clip of Little Scrappy and Mama D, having this kind of back and forth. He was talking about how he grew up in a trap house and how he grew up in a whole house, and he was really expressing to her, how that affected him. And when I watched that clip, you should watch that clip now. You should pause this video and go and watch that clip. Just type in Little Scrappy and Mama D, and you might see a video pop up where it says Little Scrappy get real deep about his upbringing with Mama D. You should click on that. You should watch that short clip. You should pause this video and go and watch that. And I watched that, and that is why I was inspired to come on here and to do this video, right? Little Scrappy, he's a big man. He will had tears in his eyes. He felt, you could see his heart, you could see his pain. And for some reason, when I watched that short clip, I do not know the history of Love and Hip Hop. I have not been watching it, but I watched that short clip, and I cried when I watched that short clip. I see Little Scrappy, he was crying. I could kind of relate to him. I could have empathy with him. I could kind of see myself in him. Not that I grew up in a trap house or I grew up in a whole house or anything like that, but I just could relate to the emotions that he was feeling there, right? So you should watch that short clip. You should go watch it now. You should pause this video, go watch it, and come back. Right? So you probably watched it. Yes, that is why I was inspired to come on here and do this video. So according to how you grew up and according to your upbringing, you know, the relationship you had with your parents, especially if it was dysfunctional. This video is for people who had a dysfunctional upbringing, just like a bad childhood or something. There's a possibility that you have developed or that you became fearful, anxious, fragile, can't take criticism well, low self-esteem, low self-confidence, low self-worth, bad self-concept, wonky self-beliefs about yourself, wonky, like skewed beliefs about other people, about society, about different things, and just you could be avoidant, you could be sensitive to rejection, you could not know how to ask for help, you have abandonment issues, you could be suffering from depression, you could have conduct problems, you could be disruptive, you could have a defiance problem. What I see often in my society is a defiance problem where children they're just in opposition with authority. They're just disobedient for no goddamn reason. They're just argumentative with others. They just don't like rules and they hate authority. They will just annoy adults. They will just be upset with people. I really see a difference problem where I live, where in my society, right? And this is because of your upbringing. It was dysfunctional. Your attention span is short. You have developmental issues. When I say that, I'm talking about how you talk, your speech. Like, there's a problem expressing your ideas. You have a problem solving problems. You don't understand rules. You have intense outbursts. You have intense emotional outbursts. And all of these things with a defiance problem, being disruptive and have conduct problems and all of this, your learning suffer. Yes, your learning suffer, your academics, it will suffer. Intellectual problems. And I'm not a doctor, but I'm talking from my own experience, especially what I see in society. Intellectual problems comes from experiencing trauma in the home, and it affects your brain. It affects how you process information. It affects how you process things and society. And this leads to behavioral problems and emotional problems. This is a big issue. This is a real problem. Emotional and behavioral problems. Where it come from? It could come from even when you were in the womb. When your mother was pregnant with you, maybe she had take drugs or she was drinking. Why you have emotional problems, attachment problems. I talk about attachment styles on this channel. I will not go into that now. Your environment at home is stressful. Some of your parents rigid and they just have these excessive rules. They punish you a lot. The punishment harsh. They don't know what they're doing to you. with this harsh punishment, they they just have more negative interactions with you. Anytime they talk to you, it's to yell at you, it's to tell you what you're doing wrong, it's to tell you what you should do, it's to bring you down, it's when they're angry. That's why you have behavioral problems and like emotional problem, like you didn't develop fully emotionally because you were abused. Physical abuse, hit you, beat you, slap you, break your bones. Emotional abuse, neglect you, talk down to you, sexual abuse also involved. Or you just learn that if I have an outburst, if I disrespect and I behave bad, I'll get attention. And you just learn, you realize that acting out is the only way to get a response from your parents and teachers, and now you have behavioral problems. And what I'm really trying to say here is that to parents especially, when you create a healthy and a positive, loving environment, it helps your child to learn better in school and home, to learn behavior, to just be a normal human being, basically, right? So right now I will just get into how your upbringing is affecting you currently, or how it has affected you. Maybe you are 30 something, now 40, or maybe you are a young adult, 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever age, this information will be useful to you, right? Yes, I came here to tell you it's okay if you don't love your parents. It's okay. You're not going to tell that to anybody. You have it in your mind. I come here to talk about taboo topics that nobody's talking about, and I'm going to tell you now ways how your upbringing, especially if it's dysfunctional, is affecting you now, or how is that affected you. And the first one is that you don't know how to love. You are experiencing difficulty in romantic relationships and even in friendships. You have been emotionally neglected. That is the major way that parents are feeling today. Yeah, they provide some food, they provide some clothes and education, and you live somewhere, but there's an emotional neglect. They don't smile at you, they don't hug you, they don't show interest in you. And now you grow up in a romantic relationship and you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you have problems constantly, right? Another way it's affecting you, you have to fix all of these. You have so much personal issues right now you need to fix. You have low self-esteem, you lack self-confidence, you lack self-worth, bad self-concept, your belief system is wonky. What you believe about yourself is inaccurate. What you believe about other people, what you believe about society, what you believe about the world, or what you believe about men in relationships. You might have a misconception that men are bad, that men can't be trusted, or whatever. And sometimes it takes a very long time to fix personal issues. It takes many months and many years. And this could affect the success you have in life and your career. You could career problems with your boss, problems with employees, can't take criticism well, arguing with your boss, not getting along with the team, many things just because of your upbringing. And if you want to have children, you wouldn't want to pass on all of these insecurities to your child, right? The next thing is that you have difficulty healing or becoming better. Your parents have passed down their wounds onto you, their emotional trauma, their unresolved issues, their fears, their insecurities, and now you're walking around with hatred for them. You hate them. You have resentment towards them, and I know you won't say it. You're indifferent. You have indifference towards them. You just, like, you're unconcerned about them secretly. You're apathetic towards them. You just don't care about them now because of the many years of bad treatment, and you feel guilty and you feel shame. I talk about walking around with shame and guilt already in previous videos. This will really drag you down, walking around with guilt and shame, and all of your relationships will be affected in life, carrying around this heavy weight on your heart, on your shoulders, having this burden dragging you down, like walking around, you hate them, you have resentment, there's indifference, you avoid them. It's affecting you. The other way it's affecting you is you have a lack of emotional development, because you didn't get enough affection and love growing up. Now you lack emotional development. What is emotional development? Emotional development, which is very important in this life, is learning about feelings, learning about emotions, understanding where they come from, why they occur, recognizing your own feelings and recognizing feelings of other people, and developing an effective way of communicating and managing your feelings and knowing what is appropriate and what is not appropriate, while creating a good enough interaction with other people. That's emotional development, which I believe should be taught in school. You should have maths, English, emotional development. That should be a subject, because you really need it growing up, especially when you get your job, you know. Anyways, the other way it's your upbringing is affecting you currently, why you might not like your parents, because there's this, you lack intellectual development, as I mentioned before. Just to talk, or just to, you have language problems. You can't talk properly, you can't express your ideas clearly, you can't say what you're thinking, you can't bring your perspective out of your head in words. You can't talk about your ideas so other people could understand. I could relate to this. Growing up, it was difficult to, for example, I would say, you're in class, you know the answer, but you just do not have the vocabulary or the capacity to explain your ideas well. And then you look dull, you look like you're dull. I could kind of understand when some students you just like give up, because it's difficult to, you know the answer, you have the knowledge, you're not dull, but the vocabulary, the language, the speech is not developed because you experience some sort of bad upbringing that is affecting your brain. Right? That's how your childhood is affecting you right now. I did a video on the issues or how your trauma from the past is affecting you now. This is kind of a continuation, right? But I will be mentioning new things, or things could be coming up again. Another way your upbringing is affecting you currently now is you have trust issues. Your parent abandoned you. They could abandon you physically, they're not there. Or they just were uninterested in you. They were there, they just were not interested in you. They didn't offer support in crucial times of your life. Like, they're not there when you really need them. Or they just didn't provide a consistent warmth or attention for you or towards you. So you might be going through a problem or you really need them, but they're not there, and you get stressed and you get fearful. So you have trust issues now. Now you feel like you can't open up or trust anyone. You could become a people pleaser. You could, in relationships, especially for women, you could be needing reassurance in your relationship all the time. You have anxiety, you're extremely jealous, you're controlling, you feel insecure in relationship because of the trust issues. The parents abandoned you. They were not there physically, or they just like neglected you emotionally, were not interested in you, and now you have all these problems in your romantic relationship. Right? Continuing. You are struggling financially without support. You might not know how to ask for help. You might feel like you're not good enough to get help. They might not be able to support you financially, so you're struggling. You might have a low paying job, cost of living high, and you're just struggling to get by. And this is affecting you, right? Sometimes our parents, they're not doing well financially, and you grow up and you too, you're not doing well financially. Maybe you have to take care of them. There's some people, they are taking care of their mother or their father, and they have their own family, and they feel restricted. They feel like they can't live their full life because they have to take care of their parents, and they have their own family to take care of. Maybe the money that they earn is going towards taking care of their parents, and they have a family. Or maybe they don't have a family. Maybe they're single. They want to travel or something, but they can't because they need to be physically there to take care of their mother or their father. Or they need to put this money towards taking care of them, so they can't travel and explore and do what they need to live their own life. That could create resentment. Right? The money is going towards taking care of them, and then you could be struggling financially. That is how your upbringing is affecting you. Your parents should be responsible for themselves, especially if this happens where maybe there is a breakup between mother and father, and then you have to take care of your mother. Some men are husband substitute. What do you call them now? Yeah, husband substitute. Filling in for your dad, taking care of your mom, doing many things. Can't have time for your career, your family, your romantic partner. Can't have time to explore and travel. Yes, that is how it's affecting you now. Another way your upbringing is affecting you, you have an anxious attachment style, which I talked about before on this channel. Your parents were inconsistent. You could be watching me for the first time. Anxious attachment style is when your parents, they were inconsistent with attention and love. And now you grow up, you lack trust, you have anxiety, you have poor interpersonal relationships, you are clingy, you are needy in romantic relationships, you are codependent, especially women have this. People pleasing, not knowing your worth, not knowing your value, people taking advantage of you, people taking you for granted, especially women. This anxious attachment style. That is how your upbringing is affecting you now. Your parents were like not consistent. Sometimes they're there for you, sometimes they're not. You need them a really important situation. You lack safety, you need them, they're not there. Sometimes they're there, they're not. And you get anxious attachment style, and now you're clingy, needy in a romantic relationship, sabotaging your romantic relationship, needing assurance, being codependent, being a people pleaser, and all of these things. That is how it's affecting you. Or maybe you're avoidant. You have an avoidant attachment style, which is most men, where you grew up and your parents, they rejected you emotionally. They were dismissive towards you. And now you're emotionally unavailable. Now you have a hard time being intimate. You're distant, you're avoidant, you're cold, you are manipulative, you're secretive, you're sneaky, you lie, you cheat, you have problems with intimacy, you lack the vocabulary to talk about feelings and emotions. And you have problems with your girlfriend. All the time you have problems with your woman because of intimacy problems. And some people, but most of the time I talk to men, so I ask them about their upbringing or whatever. Yeah, they will say, yeah, I have a good upbringing, yeah, I got everything I want, blah blah blah. My upbringing was pretty good. I'm like, and I listen to their upbringing and I'm like, yo, you're emotionally unavailable, you are distant, you are cold, and you are dismissive, you are sneaky, you lie and you cheat. Like, come on, something wrong with your upbringing. Some people think, oh my god, my upbringing was pretty good, I love my parents, they did a good job. You're emotionally unavailable. Or as a woman, you could be clingy, you're needy, you're a people pleaser, they're taking advantage of you, you're staying long in relationships that is not benefiting you, you're there for many years and months, they didn't marry you, why are you still there? Anxious attachment style. Right? Another way your upbringing is affecting you is that you have a hard time managing your emotions. Right? It's difficult to form relationships, to maintain relationships. You have problems showing empathy. You always getting taken for granted, as I mentioned, and you are arguing and you have conflict at work in your relationship. It's just like you just can't manage your emotions. You fly off the handle. You get angry, you have outbursts, and it's sabotaging your relationships. Your relationship romantically and at work and in your family. Right? I have many videos. You should browse through my channel. By now you should kind of know what your problem is. I have videos on attachment style, how to cope with anxious attachment style, how to cope with dismissive avoidant attachment style, how to fix self-esteem. I talk about the not good enough womb that you probably have. I talk about toxic relationship with your mother and your father. Some men are mama's boy, and how husband substitute. I talk about the mistakes your parents made. I talk about the qualifications to be a parent. I talk about how to love a man. That could be watched by anybody, women, men. You might be a man and you don't know what you want. Right? You might be a man, you need time and you need space, which obviously is a great way to show love. But some men, they go on and on, weeks and months, taking time and space, and there's a problem and you don't bring it up, and you sneak around and you cheat. That also is linked to how your upbringing, right? So I was just mentioning to you with the different things, like how your upbringing is affecting you currently. Some people say, my God, your videos are so long. I fell asleep watching your video. I didn't finish the video, and I'm saying, like, most of my videos I'm glossing through. I'm just like throwing out ideas to say, hey, you might have this problem. I'm trying to go through this quickly. It's already 30 minutes past, right? Anyways, I'm glossing through. So those were just how your upbringing may have affected you, and the things that you might need to work on to have more success in your life, or to have a better life, or to have a more satisfying life, right? So now I'm going to talk about how the relationship broke down with your parents, like how you came to this feeling or to this idea that you don't love them. You might not know, you might just feel, or you might just think about, I don't like them, I don't love them, there's indifference or whatever. And now I'm going to try to just throw out some things to you to see how this has developed, how the relationship really break down, right? And that is because they might not have been affectionate with you. They might not. And I talk about emotional needs in previous videos with the mistakes your parents made. They might not have hugged you, kissed you, tell you they love you, and many things. They might not have made you feel special. They might not tell you you're smart. They didn't tell you you're pretty, you're handsome, you're talented, you're intelligent, I'm proud of you, good job in whatever it is you're doing, academics, sports, or whatever. They didn't tell you they love you. They weren't there for you when you need them. They rejected you. They give you silent treatment. They cut off communication when you don't do what they say. When you might maybe disobey or break the rules, which is normal. They cut off communication when you make a choice that they don't like, or you make a decision that they don't like, or you just have a different personality, or you just have a different way of life. They cut off communication from you. These are ways the relationships start to break down, and you start to not like them, you start to not love them. Because maybe they don't support you financially. They could be struggling, they might not be able to support you. And now you can't accomplish your goals. You have dreams, you have all these objectives you want to do, you have this business you want to start, many things you want to do. And you can't because they can't support you. Or you're in this low paying job because maybe your father wasn't there to protect you. You drop out of school and now you need to take a regular job that's low paying, and now cost of living high. And now you can't accomplish your dreams. You're struggling paycheck to paycheck. And they have nothing to offer you. They have nothing to offer you. Now you're struggling financially. And then this could make you develop resentment towards them and feel angry. Right? Another thing is that they didn't give you advice. They didn't give you advice. They did not give you advice on your career, on your money, financial issues, or relationship issues, or marriage, or they didn't give you advice. You're out there and you're on your own trying to figure this thing out. No advice, no guidance. That could cause relationship to break down. These are things that people don't think of. They are subtle. They go unnoticed. They might not ask you meaningful questions. That is why you have this indifference. They don't ask about school, how's school today, blah blah blah, what you learn. They don't ask about your romantic relationship, who you're with, how is that relationship going, advice. They don't ask about your friends, they don't ask about your past. They didn't ask, what's your plans for the future? What is your interest? How can I support you? How can I direct you? They didn't ask, they might not care, they might not know that they should ask this, ignorant. And these are the ways that relationships have to break down. They criticize you, they talk down to you, they bring you down, they disrespect you, they make you feel unworthy, they make you feel like less than a person because you're young. That could cause you to disrespect them, to not like them, to not love them, especially if it's continuous every day criticizing you. You're going to not love them at some point. They could treat you in a downgrading way because you're young. They treat you like you're not important, like your ideas are not important, your perspective is not important, that you don't know anything. They could don't keep you safe. Like you could see that they don't care about your safety. That could make you feel resentment. Right? There's subtle things that they could do that make you feel like they don't care about if I'm safe or not. They don't ask how your day is going, they don't ask how your daily life is going, they don't ask about your goals, they don't ask about your achievement, they don't ask. And this continues for many months and many years. And you build up resentment, you build up anger, you feel like you're not important, you feel unloved, you feel not like you're not seen. They neglect you emotionally. That's a big problem, what I see. With parents today, they think that, oh, I provide food, I provide shelter, I provide clothes and a space in school and your books and your education, and yes, I'm a good parent. That are normal things you need to do. Those are normal things parents should do. You're obligated to do that. As a parent, you do not need a reward to provide clothes and to provide shelter and food and school, a space in school. Right? You should check out my video, qualifications to become a parent. Right? So those are some things that could be happening or that happen that make you feel like you do not love them, you do not like them. And it is normal to feel that way. It's taboo. Nobody's going around saying, oh, I don't love my mom, I don't love my dad. Or you have a caregiver, maybe your mom and your dad are not there, you have a caregiver, maybe they're treating you bad. and you don't like them, you don't love them, you're not gonna go around and say I don't like them, I don't love them, and then you're thinking in your mind, I'm crazy, I'm cruel, I'm a bad person. It's normal. You could think of it like this: you're in a romantic relationship and the person criticize you, they don't support you, they don't ask you about your day, they don't hug you, they don't show you love. Obviously, are you going to continue to love them and like them? Maybe no, you might not. You would have conflict, you would have arguments, you would break up, you always have problems. It's the same as relationships, right? So some parents, listen carefully, some parents may do these things that I just mentioned and they love you, right? They genuinely love you, they genuinely care about you, even if they don't ask about your day, they don't ask about your goals. They might not ask you meaningful questions, they might not ask about your relationship, they might not ask about your friends. They could still love you because they are ignorant, they never got that type of affection or emotional care when they grew up, so they don't know. They could be ignorant, but they could genuinely love you. I'm not saying that if they didn't ask about your daily life or your goals or your achievement that they didn't love you. These are just examples I give to show you how you develop this maybe hatred, or you just don't like them, or you don't love them. It's an ongoing thing, right? They could genuinely love you if they do these things. They could neglect you emotionally and they love you. And I'm not saying you need to have a perfect relationship with your parents. Maybe you only have one parent. Maybe you only have your mom, or maybe you only have your dad. You do not need to have a perfect relationship to feel loved, to feel cared for, to feel seen, to feel understood, right? Maybe they could support you financially. They help you build your business. They help you move out. They pay your rent until you get on your feet. They buy your first vehicle for you until you build up and be financially independent and get what you want. They do all of that. They love you, they care about you, they support you financially, but they might not ask about your romantic relationship. They might not ask about your goals, but you can see that they love you. You have to have your own discretion about if your parents love you or not, or and so on and so forth, right? So what to do if you don't like your parents, you think you don't like your parents? What to do? Well, the first thing, according to your age, this video is already going on 48 minutes, right? And if I need to say everything I need to say, it will take 3 hours, I swear. This is just glossing over, trying to give quick tips, points, trying to just bring awareness. But anyway, let me continue. Don't fall asleep and don't click off and come back, whatever. If you think you don't like your parents, you think you have a bad upbringing, you think you need to, first of all, you need to move out the house, and that will depend on your age and your financial circumstances. And you need to make that decision to just move out the house, and make sure if you decide to move out that you move to a safe place and a safe space where you are safe, okay? That will help you to be independent, to see yourself for who you really are, to get time and space to develop yourself. You have to work on self-esteem, you have to work on self-confidence, you have to work on self-worth. Many things you have to do. You could be a people pleaser, you could be avoidant, you could be cold, you could be clean, you could be neat. Many things you have to work on. Your romantic relationship could be in danger. You have problems with your many things. Move out, be by yourself, get to know who you are, develop yourself. Maybe you can't move out, okay, cool. You might need to limit the interactions you have with them. Just reduce the interactions you have with them. Don't try to get love from them. Try to get their attention. Try to get their advice. Try to build sometimes you would know if the relationship could be reformed or like rejuvenate the relationship or whatever, or not. If you know it's done, you can't, Just reduce your interactions with them. Next thing you need to do, which is one of the most important, is to focus on your own life. Focus on your career goals. You have personal goals. You have relationship goals. You have, I don't know, you want to be a better person. Just try not to follow in their footsteps, like heal your trauma, especially if you have children or you want children. You don't need to pass down all of those insecurities and fears to them. You need to focus on your own life to be a better person and focus on your goals, right? The other thing is to find another role model that truly and genuinely care about you, somebody else, like it could be another family member or family friend that you could depend on, you could look up to for advice, for genuine love, unconditional love, care, to talk to, so they could understand you, so you could feel like a sense of belonging or something like that. So those are 4 things you could do if you feel like you do not like your parents, you do not like a parent or your caregiver or whatever, right? So those are 4 things you could do depending on your age and where you are in life. So remember, you are not a monster. You are not a bad person because you don't like your parents. You are not ungrateful. You are not spoiled. You are not abnormal. You do not have a disorder because you do not love your parents. You do not like your parents. You just have a bad upbringing, and that is what happened, right? And I'm saying also, your parents can love you even if there's a breakdown in your relationship, right? They might just be unaware of how to nurture you or how to be there for you, especially emotionally. Maybe they emotionally neglect you. They are ignorant, they do not know, they never had this for themselves, they do not know what they're doing. But they could genuinely love you and you would know that, right? Your parents, just a reminder, wrapping up this video, almost going on to an hour. Your parents could just lack knowledge, and they lack understanding of how to fully raise you properly in a healthy way. They may not have the capacity to reason with you or even know how to reason or to resolve conflict in a healthy way. Some parents, especially, I was inspired by the clip with Little Scrappy and Mama D. And I don't know Mama D. I don't know the history. I haven't been watching Love and Hip Hop, but some parents, they look numb, they look hard, they lack empathy, they just like a wall, they just like an empty shell, and they just lack emotional development, and they lack the capacity to understand you and what you're saying. So when I see Little Scrappy like crying and like talking about all these things, I look at her and she's like, to me, it looked like, I'm biased or whatever, like she looked numb. She looked like an empty shell on a wall. She hugged him and she's saying things and it just looked like it's coming from nowhere. So just some parents are like that. They lack empathy, they are hard and they are numb. They lack emotional intelligence, they lack emotional development, and they will never understand you and you will never feel loved by them forever, right? So that's just the reality of life. You will never get the love from them. They will never change. Some of them will never change. You will never get a healthy relationship with your mother or father, whoever, caregiver, I don't know your situation, right? Anyway, that's the end of this video. I don't want to carry it on anymore. If I need to say everything I need to say, it will be 3 to 4 hours. I just came on here mainly to say that you are not a bad person if you don't like your parents. You are not cruel if you don't love your parents. You are not a bad person. Nothing is wrong with you. You do have a disorder for not liking them or whatever. So I hope this ease your heart. I hope this could like relieve some burden off your shoulder. And if you want, you could like the video. If you want, you could subscribe. I talk about taboo topics here all the time. I come here and I talk about hard conversations. It's not easy to talk about these things, but I will talk about them because I care about the future generation, people who are coming after me. So if you want, you could subscribe, like the video, and I hope this helps wherever you are in your journey. If you live with them, you don't live with them, if you whatever. and see you in the next video. And if you make it to the end here, which is almost an hour, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.